Oh, it's quicker than waiting for the boat.
This week on isletunes, we'll say goodbye to August, say hello to a new ditty from the Darvel, and we'll chat with promising singer-songwriter Keagan Bernard. Yous ready, PEI? Let's get her done! How's she going, Prince Edward Island? I am your host, Adam Michael James, and you are listening to isletunes for the week of August 25th, 2024. Time for another hour of PEI music made by PEIers. Yeah, maybe you could get stuff like that on a streaming playlist, but those ain't gonna give you info on the artists and their songs, nor are they gonna tell you where to take in live performances or give you bits of island history. Yeah, that's a flex. Deal with it. Guess I better stop tripping on the sound of my own voice and get to all the islandness and put my toonies where my trap is. By the way, this portion of isletunes is sponsored by Technomedia. Well, I think my late dad must have been right when he used to tell me life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. I mean, from my perspective, it seems we just rang in 2024, and now here we are already ringing in the end of August. Not that I'm going to be sad to see the bugs go or the heat, but that's just because the AC in my car has been on the fritz. This unofficial handoff from summer to autumn, even though chronologically that's not for another 4 weeks yet, has inspired more than one song, I'm sure. Or at the very least, it's inspired this one. And this one I'm going to give you comes by way of an artist from Halifax. Psych! Do you seriously think I'd go against my own mandate and play with someone who wasn't from or connected to PEI? Nay, this guy might operate out of Nova Scotia, but he did spend 3 months in residence in Kensington, and that's when he produced this puppy, so it counts. Daniel James McFadgen has that indie folk thing going on, and I'm going to take a wild guess and surmise that his brief time on this island included the month of August, because not only did he write a song exclaiming that the month could lay claim to him, the song is also the title of his 2021 album. Sorry, February. So sad, too bad, November. This fellow offers himself to the 8th month with August, I'm Yours. And in case you didn't notice it, isletunes is yours too.
This fog-filled morning, the smell of leaves, they fill your throat. And I saw you leaving. You took your bag and you took your coat. Rain won't give up, no, until the water fills this room. And I won't give up. How could I give up on you? Now it's time, and the spark I felt inside you dies. I need more. Now I'm singing, August, I'm yours. And I know I fucked up. Only time can make this right. And the grass all burnt up from the flame that burns inside. It burns inside. And the sun shines, making a way for the moonlight. I'm nervous too for this long night. I'm making my way to the floor. Now we're singing. August, I'm yours. August, I'm yours.
isletunes world premiere.
Darvel with their brand new track Kindred, just released Friday on iTunes. The quintet of Sam Reed, Lucas McCormick, Drew Casabo, Malcolm Orford, and Lucas Proud got together in 2019, developing the inspo they got from early 2000s garage rock and punk revivals into their own sound. I don't know if this is how they got their name, but Darvel is a town in Scotland, and with two L's, it's a French-derived moniker meaning Town of Eagles. Here's something else I don't know. They've just released a new single, but today, August 25th at the Trailside, is what they've termed the last chance ever to see them live. There's a story there, I know it, but I don't have enough info to even speculate. So lest I drive myself into a straitjacket trying to figure it out, why not invest in some real straitjackets? The band The Straitjackets, that is. Here's another group with mostly out-of-province leanings, but a tie to an islander that qualifies their music to be on this show, given that this album came out in 1988 on vinyl and cassette. Of course, not a whole lot is known about it or its creators, though I do know the record sides list as Crazed 1 and Crazed 2. And that's appropriate because the actual record in question was entitled Are You Crazy? Ready for some real 80s punk vibes from the real 80s? Then open the sanitarium doors because these are the Straitjackets with Remember a Day, remembering some vintage tunes on iTunes. That was no copycat 80s groove you just heard on iTunes. That was the Totally Tubular Thing by way of the Straitjackets. And Remember a Day, the first track of their 1988 album, Are You Crazy? I ask myself that question every day, and I've yet to give myself a definitive no as an answer. Coming up, Richard Wood comes down with a fever. Jordan Cameron opens up a history book with the help of a history-making duet partner. And interview guest Keagan Bernard shows you why he's still alive. Summer may be coming to a close, but time keeps on moving, and ergo, so does the accumulation of bygone days. Stuff happened during those bygone days, too. Yeah, also here on the island. Think it didn't? You don't need Mr. Peabody and Sherman to take you for a ride in the Wayback Machine when you've got This Week in PEI History. August 28, 1847, the Daily Examiner, which, like other papers out then, seemed to be so crammed full of advertisements it's amazing any actual news got in there, ran an invitation from the Phoenix establishment for shipowners, agriculturalists, and millers to inspect its improved smut machine. No, it wasn't a 19th century version of Pornhub. It was said that, thanks to this device, quote, wheat is perfectly clean from all impurities, unquote. Not coincidentally, quote, persons desirous of attaching such an important addition to their mills, capital M, are requested to forward their orders without delay, unquote. August 28, 1867, George Coles, the colonial secretary of the time, offered a reward of £5 in the Royal Gazette for the apprehension of Henry Dodd, a deserter from Her Majesty's ship Favourite. I guess it wasn't Henry's favorite. He was described as a native of England, height 4 feet 8 inches, hair light, eyes blue. Any of y'all seen him? £5 in it for you. August 30th, 1918. The Charlottetown Guardian, which in their header stated both that they had 45,000 readers daily and that they were read by everybody, which is it, reported that the Honorable Murdoch McKinnon and the Honorable H.D. McEwen, who had accompanied Premier Arsenault to the Conference of Provincial Premiers in Halifax, had returned to the island 2 days prior. The article further stated that Premier Arsenault had gone on to Montreal, and that the subject of the conference had to do with settling returned soldiers from the war, that war being World War I, which was then called the Great War, on free grants of land. There was a conflict in that the western provinces had plenty of land to give away, but, quote, it is not applicable to the maritime provinces where there is none, unquote. Wonder how or if that got resolved. August 31st, 1956, The Guardian announced that, according to a report put together by the Charlottetown Playgrounds Commission, no less than 28,362 children had used the playground facilities set up in 3 parks across the city that August. The apparent spike in kiddies was attributed to the fact that additional equipment had been made available for the season by the city council. If you really want it broken down, 14,566 kids frolicked in Connaught Park, compared to 10,475 in Victoria Park and 3,331 at Prince Street. Personally, I want to know who sat there and counted all these boys and girls. Did they get paid by the kid? iTunes will be right back after this message. I'd say don't touch that dial, but there isn't one. Funny how that works out.
Looking to increase your digital presence? All you need is Technomedia. From branding to graphic design, website development, photography, social media campaigns, and more, Technomedia's got your back. With 30 years experience to back them up. Find them at technomediapei.com or call 902-368-3043. Technomedia. Let's create something together.
Bonjour tout le monde, c'est Patricia Richard de Sirène et Matelot et vous êtes à l'écoute de isletunes.
Une femme d'équilibre, une au-dessus de tes forces. Une femme forte, une femme qui réconforte, une femme québécoise, une femme française, une femme qui donne, une femme qui prend. Toi qui voudrais vivre ta vie comme une femme d'aujourd'hui, serait-ce au-dessus de tes forces? Une femme heureuse, une femme amoureuse, une femme universelle, une femme réelle, une femme qui cherche, une femme qui croit que tu peux vivre ta vie comme une femme d'aujourd'hui. Ce n'est pas au-dessus de tes forces. Oui, tu peux vivre ta vie comme une femme d'aujourd'hui. Ce n'est pas au-dessus de tes forces.
Now iTunes is really reaching back, as in all the way to 1979, with Angèle Arsenault and Femme d'aujourd'hui. Even I don't need Google Translate to tell me that means woman of today, though that's delightfully ironic to say about a song that came out 45 years ago. The album that cut belongs to is Angèle's Y'a une étoile pour vous. Talk about delightful. And talking of 1979, I thought that since last week's episode was fully made up of songs that came out this summer, I should get back to the promise all my promo stuff talks about and hit you with all eras. Beat that, Taylor Swift. Now from French to Gaelic, and I know I'm going to massacre these titles just so you know ahead of time, though I will do my best to force my tongue around these syllables. First, the part I can pronounce. Patricia Murray burst onto the island scene in 2001 with her album Primrose. According to a 2003 interview, her intention was to become a Gaelic singer. She was learning the language, but that debut effort of hers was still largely in English. Guess by 2020 she'd gotten the hang of the Celtic tongue because her album of that year featured only one English title. And now for the massacring. That album of 4 years ago does carry the English name Welcome to Prince Edward Island, but as indicated on its cover, it's also known by Folcha Yellen Afrionza. And the song you're going to hear from it is Green Air Yellen Abaquit. Google Translate says that means our island Abaquit is cute, but I bet Googs has the wrong adjective here. I would say beautiful? There, I fumbled my way through that. And I'm going to play you Patricia Murray now to make you forget about my linguistic liabilities, though the Abaquit part I recognized. I also recognized the word iTunes.
Sailor stands upon the dock, admiring the craft that sits just off the waterline, so proudly painted last. Eager to get underway, heave to and raise the sails. Well, he'd never be the same again if he lived to tell the tale. Sailing the Northumberland, a cold, relentless strait, at the wheel all night while an eastern gale left us wondering our fate. But the skipper knew his boat like other men may know their wives, and we sailed through the cancel locks in the early morning light. The old sailors will tell you the sea's no easy life, and if you don't believe me, boys, then go and ask me why. Have you ever been to Rustico? The boys there like the beer, and they work a lot at the Irish moss, and you can make a buck out here. Well, Daly got you drunk one night after selling a big load, and he lay there on the road and died. Well, God only knows what for. The old sailors will tell you the sea's no easy life, and if you don't believe me, boys, then go and ask me why. Well, I recall a lighthouse keeper in some old forgotten bay. Well, he gave us tea and oranges, and he listened to me play. He said, oh, well, I've been here for years, 20 years or more, and the sun comes down from Halifax in the summertime, you know. The old sailors will tell you the sea's no easy life, and if you don't believe me, boys, then go and ask me why. The old sailors will tell you the sea's no easy life, and if you don't believe me, boys, then go and ask me why. Then go and ask me why.
Scott Parsons with Lighthouse Keeper's Dream, reaching back to 1993 on iTunes. That's from his Jupiter Wise album, and I'm going to get you wise by telling you that Mr. Wise was a black slave on the island of St. John, of course, PEI, pre-1799. The only reason Jupiter made the history books was because in 1786 he was convicted of burglary and assault, and only escaped being hanged because a clergyman intervened. Those are the kinds of stories Scott Parsons has been telling about Black Islanders on his records the past 30 years to much deserved acclaim. But in between those, he does write songs on other subjects, one of which you just heard. I could do all the highfalutin intros possible on this other guy and you'd still figure out who he was in the first sentence, so Richard Wood, okay, let's just get that out of the way. But what one can't so easily get out of the way is his long and storied career. Who knew that his teenage turn as a step dancer would end up with him touring the UK, Europe, and Japan as a fiddler and playing in Shania Twain's backup band, plus going on the road with the Chieftains? That's just the beginning. I was impressed with Step Dancer since I suck at it. But you want to hear him fiddle, though, that's fair. I can trace albums going back as far as 1993 when he was still in high school, but let's stop the dial at 1998, though, and give you a fever. Fiddle Fever, that is, a cut from his album Fire Dance. Keep those thermometers handy. isletunes and Richard Wood are bringing your temperature up. Going back to the early days of Richard Wood on isletunes from his 1998 album Fire Dance, that's Fiddle Fever. From what I can tell, he hasn't had a new release since 2019, but then he doesn't have to. He plays regularly on the island when he's not fiddling for prime ministers, queens, and emperors, or doing shows for the Canadian Armed Forces in Bosnia, Afghanistan, and the frickin' North Pole. Still to come, the outcome of putting a mirror on the sun, and Keagan Bernard brings you another of his riveting tunes. Hey, as it turns out, Richard is still in the middle of his Saturday night series of Celtic music concerts if you want to catch him live. And what do you know, there's a whole slew of additional artists taking stages across the province, and lucky you, I'm here to tell you all about them. So let's get to gigs to dig across Prince Edward Island, shall we? Today, Sunday, August 25th, it's the Ella Montgomery Social Soiree featuring Olivia Barnes and Sébastien Comtois with Leo Marchildon at the Barachois Inn in Rustico. Side note, one of the songs that Leo and I wrote for the 9 Lives of Ella Montgomery is going to be featured. Also today, August 25th, Danielle Gauguin, Daniel Léger, Saltwater Dollies, Peter Arsenault, Albert Arsenault, and Hélène Bergeron. They are all at the Mont Carmel Parish Hall in Mont Carmel. And tonight, also August 25th, it's the Darvel with their apparent last ever concert at the Trailside Music Hall. Tuesday, August 27th, Julie and Danny are at the Fiddling Fisherman Lookout in Surrey. Wednesday, August 28th, it's Kaylee in the City, Gordon Belcher, and Todd McLean. They are at the Jack Blanchard Center in Charlottetown. Also on the 28th, Island Proud with Amelia May. She's at the Under the Spire Festival at St. Mary's Church in Indian River. Finishing up the 28th, Randy J. Martin is at the Harborfront Theater, but if you miss him there, he's also going to be at King's Playhouse in Georgetown the following night, Thursday, August 29th. Saturday, August 31st, it's Absolute Losers with Tyler Messick at the Trailside. Also on the 31st, it's JJ and Tim Chasen with Jack Charon. They are at the Fiddling Fisherman Lookout in Surrey. Fiddler's Sons is playing the 31st at the Surrey Show Hall. And finishing up August 31st and the month, it's Saffron Venti at Baba's Lounge. Looking into next week, September 4th, Richard Wood is at King's Playhouse in Georgetown. September 5th, Lenny Gallant is at the Surrey Show Hall. And September 7th, surprise, it's Lenny Gallant at the Stompin' Tom Festival, of course, at the Stompin' Tom Center in Skinner's Pond. Let's also not forget about all the summer concert series still summering across the island. Gordon Belcher is doing his Back Home Tonight series Mondays through September 16th at Stanley Bridge Hall in Stanley Bridge. La Veillée au Village featuring Louise Arsenault, Jonathan Arsenault, Shane Arsenault, Caroline Bernard, and Rémi Arsenault. They are all at the Village Musical Acadien in Abram Village, playing Tuesdays and Wednesdays through August 28th. Only a few more days to catch them. Michael Pendergast and Tom McSwiggan Summer Kayleys. They are playing Wednesdays also through August 28th at Malpeque Hall and Thursdays at Stanley Bridge Hall. Richard Wood, him again, an evening of Celtic music playing Saturdays through September 28th at Stanley Bridge Hall. The Ross Family Kaylee presents Gone is the Kerosene Lamp at the Florence Simmons Hall. Their remaining dates are August 29th, September 5th, September 9th, September 18th, and September 25th. The Proud Islanders with Garth and Carl Proud and Amon Arsenault, they are playing the Stanley Bridge Hall and Stanley Bridge Sunday nights until September 1st. And Evangeline Area Agricultural Exhibition and Acadian Festival with Nick Arsenault, Rémi Arsenault, Gadel, and more. They are playing at Abram Village August 29th through September 1st.
Hi, this is Don Ross, and I'm currently being held captive at the studio of isletunes. And in lieu of sending canned food, you could just keep listening and have a good time, and I'll just enjoy my captivity. Thanks for being here, and thanks for listening.
There was a fire in the big yellow house. No one was home, but the family was around. And they stood on the lawn, being everything they owned. And they said, this fire gets our house, but it won't get our home. There was a flood at the old city hall, and nothing was saved except the photos on the wall. They tore it down in the springtime with a shed. The mayor was there among the memories of the dead. he said, we are not these houses. We are not those churches in the square. You can take our walls, and we will never shed a tear, because we are your history, and we will be right here. There were these kids at the old distillery, went around smashing every window they could see. The workers walked around the floor between the glass, and they said, looks like today we've got some work to do at last. Oh. There was a storm out beside the tiny school. Nothing was boarded up, nobody bothered to. The teacher tallied up the things that were all gone, and she said, I think today we'll have our lessons on the lawn. And she said, we are not these houses, and we are not those churches in the square. You can take our walls, and we will never shed a tear, because we are your history, and we will be right here. Whoa. We are not these houses, and we are not those churches in the square. You can take our walls, and we will never shed a tear, because we are your history, and we will be right here.
Summerside native, Charlottetown realtor Jordan Cameron with the title track from his 2013 Your History album. Of course, part of my history is that I call him Master, since he was the beast to my Lumiere in the 2015 production of Beauty and the Beast over at the Confed Center. And if Jordan is the beast, you must be wondering about the beautiful voice accompanying him on this song. Why, it's none other than Catherine McClellan. How about that already? Speaking of island goddesses, this one is a graduate of Holland College's School of Performing Arts program, and since 2021 she's dropped 3 singles, an EP, and let's call it an old-fashioned double-sided single since it's listed as a single but actually has 2 songs on it. She calls her delivery soft and airy, plus she gets inspo from Lana Del Rey, Melanie Martinez, and Taylor Swift. And if I may tie Tay-Tay's stellarness in with Brib, I can, because Brib sings about a celestial body herself. This is her 2021 track, Mirror on the Sun, shining on iTunes.
Tell me this won't get tough. I trust. I don't want you to be warm, but then distantly you grow cold. I don't want to see the day when you say you don't want to miss. You got bored. I love you and I can lose. You will choose you all the time. The mirror on the sun, I'm hoping that you don't run away from the light rays. The mirror on the sun, it shines above all of us, and your reflection I trust. The mirror on the sun, I'm hoping that you don't run away from the light rays. The mirror on the sun shines above all our love, its reflection I trust.
Brib bringing it on All Tunes with Mirror on the Sun. There's going to be more musical planets revolving around her sun in the near future if she has her way. She has hinted that she's got other projects in her solar system, so keep a telescope on those. The irony of music is that while there's so much joy to be taken from it, there's also often so much hardship that inspires it. But then having an outlet like music to pour your deepest emotions and struggles into can serve as a life raft. And many times the result of that kind of creativity contains a level of passion you might not otherwise find with songs composed in better times. That's the case for the fellow who zoomed by to chat with me this week. He's seen a lot in his young life, but he also started playing music when most of us were still trying to figure out construction paper. He brings that expertise to his latest song we're going to world premiere. Isle Tunes brings you Keagan Bernard. I would like to introduce all you Isle Tuners to a very talented singer-songwriter from Lennox Island who you may not know about, but you should. He's 22 now, but he started playing when he was very young, and his lyrics are as raw as his vocals are soulful. I think you're going to be hearing a lot more from this dude in the future, and I'm happy to have him here through the magic of Zoom, even if I myself am currently in the Isle Tunes studios, also known as my basement. Everybody, this is Keagan Bernard. Kwe Upjalasi Keagan. I'm really glad you could take some time.
Hi.
Hi. So you started playing when you were young then. How young? And did you start on guitar or was it another instrument?
I started when I was around 4 years old, and it was on a guitar.
Wow, 4 years old. Dang.
Yeah, my dad plays.
What inspired you to start writing your own music, and when did you start doing that?
I started writing my own music around when I think I was 14 years old. And I don't know, it was kind of a way for me to get stuff out at the time.
It's a very important way to get things out. Who would you say your influences have been?
My influences?
Mm-hmm.
My dad for sure.
Mm-hmm. And your dad is?
Peter Joe.
Oh, okay. Yes.
He's a guitar player for Swamp River.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. And now, if I've Googled correctly, you've done some performing with the Mi'kmaq Heritage Actors. Your latest show was at the Confed Center.
I don't think I've done a show with them, actually. But I did do I don't know if you remember, but during COVID, they were doing the drive-in shows.
Yes.
Yeah, I did a song for them back 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed it in drive-in across PEI.
Oh, nice. Nice. I'm speaking with songwriter Keagan Bernard here on iTunes. Keagan, your song "I'll Make It Home," I think was the one you were talking about that was out 4 years ago. It had
Yeah,
it had a similar compelling intensity that your most recent tune "Alone and Alive" does, which we're going to play in a little bit here. What is your songwriting process like, and what motivates you in your lyric writing?
it's weird because actually, whenever I write songs like that, I always seem to be going through a really hard time in my life, and they just kind of happen for me.
And yeah, you had said that they're a good way of getting things out.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, when I try to think and try to write, it doesn't happen, but sometimes I just pick up my guitar and I'll come out with a tune like 2 hours later.
Yeah, it is often a feel thing. Once you start thinking, the creative mechanism can shut off for sure. I know that's true for me. Do you usually have the music come first or the lyrics?
I usually have some riffs in my mind beforehand.
And that inspires the lyrics then.
Yeah,
Cool. I think you had said something that some of your lyrics address mental health and recovery.
yeah.
Talk to us about that.
So I started my that "I'll Make It Home" song. That was the first song I ever wrote, and I actually wrote that my first time in a rehab facility when I was 14 years old. And it's the same with "Alone and Alive," but that was a different time that I was in rehab facility. So a lot of my music, it's really it's a lot of feelings coming out after pushing it all down for so long. And I know what it's like trying to keep your head above water when there's that anchor self-sabotage dragging you to rock bottom.
Yeah, I know what that's like too. And I think it's very important to have that outlet and to express yourself in your music that way. Because
Yeah.
it's not good to stuff stuff down.
Yeah, no, I never really, when I wrote those songs, it wasn't really to show people, they were more for me.
And I guess that's also why so far your songs are on YouTube. And not really I at least I didn't see them anywhere else. Are there additional places people can hear your songs?
I haven't really been putting them out, just every now and then I get an opportunity. Like, well, I recorded this song was there's a songwriters program that CBC is putting on, and I actually sent that in as an application.
The recent song or "I'll Make It Home"?
The recent song.
Oh wow, and how did that go?
I don't know yet. The deadline's the 29th, so I'm hoping they'll tell me sometime after that.
Cool. Well, yeah, I think you have a good shot at it. It's a very good song, and I'm glad that you submitted it. Are you planning on actually recording your songs and making them
Uh,
available to people?
I do plan on it, and it was in the works before, but life kind of got in the way. But this time, not in the way that usually does. I'm a new father,
Oh, well, that will
so
take up a lot of time.
my time and money have been led in different directions. But
Yeah.
eventually, I'd be getting around to recording my songs.
Good, good. That'll be cool. I'm guessing you're going to be recording, or rather writing, some more original stuff in the future too.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Given your skill as a guitarist, are you thinking, when you have time, of course, of going out and doing some live performances anywhere?
Yes, I would love to.
Because I think people would really respond to that. You have a very,
Yeah,
your writing is very compelling, I think.
thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else you would like Prince Edward Island to know about Keagan Bernard?
Nothing really other than I pour my heart and my soul into this music, and it's not a different shade of me, it's all me. It's the real genuine Keagan Bernard.
And that's the best kind of music when you pour your
Yeah.
soul into it. I have really enjoyed talking to you, and I think Islanders are really going to be drawn in by your commanding style. I really do. And so let's prove that here on iTunes. This is "Alone and Alive" by Keagan Bernard. I appreciate your letting me interview you. Wilalin.
Well, Alan,
iTunes World Premiere.
I'm giving my best effort, I'm desperate. I'm weak in my knees trying to keep it all together. I'm just above water, refusing to go under. But panic grows roots, the undertow it grows stronger. Being alone and alive, it just doesn't feel right. Feels like hot boiling water behind my eyes. My soul feels cold, cold like metal. I can't put a name on this feeling. Tears won't fall cause the dam's too strong, and I ain't strong enough to break these walls. I'm hanging on with my all, hoping this cliff won't fall. I'm hanging on by a rope, but it's starting to fray out. I'm giving it all my trust, it's held together with hope. And hopeless I am not, cause I still haven't let go. Being alone and alive, it just doesn't feel right. Feels like hot boiling water behind my eyes. My soul feels cold, cold like metal. I can't put a name on this feeling. Tears won't fall cause the dam's too strong, and I ain't strong enough to break these walls. I struggle day by day to write a happy song. I just can't seem to form the words, I'm just not happy. Oh, I jumped into a maze with a memory problem. A few hours pass soon enough, I'll find my way back. Being alone and alive, it just doesn't feel right. Feels like hot boiling water behind my eyes. My soul feels cold, cold like metal. I can't put a name on this feeling. Tears won't fall cause the dam's too strong, and I ain't strong enough to break these walls. These walls. I'm finding it more and more difficult to see a light at the end of the tunnel. God, if you hear me, take a chance. Help me out of this life I live.
Keagan Bernard with his latest song, Alone and Alive, on iTunes. As came up in our chat, he doesn't have any officially released music yet, but you can show him some support by subscribing to his YouTube channel, maybe commenting with encouragement for some official releases. Every little nudge counts. Okay, this hour of iTunes is over, and I guarantee you just heard more island music in that hour than you will anywhere else all of next week. That's just what happens on this podcast, so if you want to support it, there are ways. First one is subscribing on Patreon, where rewards are expanded video versions of chats with interview guests, plus vids of live performances. That's all for just $5 a month at patreon.com/iletunes. Another way is simply to donate what you can through PayPal, the link for which is included in the description of this episode and also on isletunes.ca. Hey, and aside from being able to listen to the show on isletunes.ca, I also provide links to where you can buy the music you hear here on that form of internet. Though since social media has made websites look so old school, you can find those links on Facebook and Instagram as well. Why not follow the show on those pages and keep up with all the doings here on iTunes? The pod has an account on TikTok now too, though as a person of a certain age, I have yet to understand what the point of TikTok is. Hell, I have yet to understand what the point of Instagram is, but post on them I will. Every show kicks off with an Islanderism, a saying exclusive to the island voiced by an Islander. Want it to be your voice? Send a recording of yourself saying one of these to amj@isletunes.ca or leave it on voicemail at 902-807-4250. These are also the methods through which you can leave comments, suggestions, or requests. Operators are standing by. Well, if the operator is me. This episode sponsored in part by Technomedia. Musical contribution to the iTunes theme by Kaylin McCauley and John Hashem. Show concept by Rocky O'Neill. Coordination assistance by Jackie Robichaux. I'm Adam Michael James, and next week we'll do it all again, putting island songs from every era and genre into a big hat and picking out tunes and artists you may know, some of which might perk you up when you hear the names, and some of which you'll be discovering for the first time. And if all that sounds random, it is, because as of this recording I have no bloody idea what's going to get played on the next show, but the muse always provides, and I have over 220 artists to choose from thanks to their generous permissions to play their songs. I always ask permission. It's called Cover Your Ass. Oh, and here's another life lesson to hold you over until the next episode. Be good, and if you can't be good at it. See you next week, and thanks for listening, PEI.